Hi YouTube, it's Kathy. As I probably mentioned countless times this month in videos, I have been very excited to go to Powell's in Portland, Oregon because it's a lovely entire city block bookstore and it's fantastic. And even though it's not the best financial choice for me to buy books, especially with the Canadian exchange rate to the American dollar, I definitely got some things and I'm going to show them to you. It sounds like the neighbors to my Airbnb are watering their lawn, so that's a fun sound. Anyway. Books. The first thing I wanted to show you is not a book. I grabbed one of the maps, even though I know my way around, sort of. There's actually a poster on the flip side of this, so I'm looking forward to putting that up somewhere in my house when I get home. The first book I grabbed off the shelf was The Year of Reading Dangerously by Andy Miller. I've heard of this book before, and as soon as I saw it in this section that was just to do with reading, because that's how beautiful Powell's is, it has these amazing displays just for interesting things. I figured it was time for me to pick it up. I think especially going from somebody who has a lot of time to read, say in my teens, to going away to university and college and not having time to read, at least for fun, I can definitely get in the mindset of somebody who just feels like they don't have time to read, and if they read one book in a year, they're really proud of themselves. And to be fair, if you read that one book in a year, that is great. One book a year is perfectly fine. But as I've kind of proved myself even just this year, if I put an effort specifically into reading, I can read so many things. I mean, at this point, I think I'm up past 120 books for the year, which is just unheard of for me. So I'm really interested to see what the 52 books he decided to read in a year were, what the 50 good ones were, and what the 2 not so good ones were. And I know that there are spoilers in here, so I'm wondering if I'm going to get to the book and realize I should probably read that book before I read this book. And you know, maybe I'll just add to my ever-growing TBR and I'll just have to read more books because of this book. That's a problem I'm okay with having. The next book I grabbed off the shelf was Ramona Blue by Julie Murphy. I've seen this a lot all over BookTube and I've heard really, really great things about it. And just reading the first line, I was like, yes, this is something I definitely want to read. Now, a funny story goes along with this because I grabbed it off the shelf in front of this rather tall fellow and kind of looked at it and went, okay, this sounds good. And then I continued down the aisle. I was kind of looking at the books next to where he was standing, and I kind of saw him sort of not quite profile, kind of from behind, and I'm going, pretty sure that's Andrew Bailey. That would be super weird to see somebody I know, you know, 2 states down from where I live. But I don't just want to tap this random person on the shoulder in case it's not him, because that's like runaway scary level for introverted me. So I did some sneaking and I went to the end of the aisle and looked at the display at the end of the aisle so I could actually see this person's face, and yes, it was somebody I know from Vancouver. He was also down to see the eclipse. And he was also looking at this book at the time. Out of that conversation I ended up having with him, we talked a little bit about Patrick Ness, and he told me that I do definitely need to read this series. So I grabbed the first book in the Chaos Walking series because I've only read one Patrick Ness before, but I really enjoyed it, and I think that he picked up that one and I've picked up this one. All I really know about this is it's an interesting writing style and everyone can hear everyone else's thoughts, which makes it a never-ending, like, mess of noise, which sounds terrifying to me, to be honest. So I feel like I'm going to really enjoy this, especially because it's another YA book and I really enjoyed the YA that I've already read this year. And the last book I picked up because I limited myself, because again, Canadian to American dollar, is Beauty Queens by Libby Ray. I've again heard wonderful things about this on BookTube, and when I was purchasing it, the cashier said I absolutely loved this book. And I'm like, that's what everybody says when they talk about this book. If you haven't heard about it already, think The Lord of the Flies, but with women who are beauty queens. And that's basically how this has been described to me, and I'm here for it. Although I'm going to confess, I didn't actually read The Lord of the Flies in high school. I read the Cliff's Notes because I found it incredibly boring. I have a few other items that aren't books that I picked up. Some are these bookmarks. This is just a Powell's bookmark that I will cherish forever, but these are some recommendations that they have, and they've done this in such a clever way. The store itself is made up of different rooms with different color coding, and the different rooms have different genres, such as there's a whole section for YA, middle grade, and kids books. There's a different section for sci-fi and comics, all of these type of distinctions. What they've done is they've given you reading lists in these certain topics, but then also told you where you can find those books in their store, which is just the smartest thing. So I got a Gilmore Girls reading list, I got a LGBTQ reading list, I got a banned books reading list, and I got a weird reads reading list. And even though I won't be buying these books from Powell's, I am very excited to pick up one of these bookmarks to use for my books and go, oh yeah, I meant to read insert title here. I really wanted to get a Powell's branded item, and I was like, well, I don't really need another tote bag. I've got enough of those. I don't really want to grab a t-shirt in case it's the wrong size, and I'm currently very sweaty because it's summer in Portland, so I don't want to try on a t-shirt to check the size. So instead, what I got was this mug, which is my favorite color and beautiful and branded, and I love it. And it's huge, so I can have all of the coffee while I read now. My Airbnb hosts are now doing laundry, so this is the perfect time to wrap up the video. If you've read any of these, let me know down in the comments below, and if you have an idea of which one I should read first, let me know that as well on the way down in the comments. If you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.